What's up, YouTube? I'm Caleb, and this is my converted Sprinter van. Today we're going to do a tour for you and show you all the bits and bobs we've been working on for the last 5 years now. Okay, so we'll start in the cabin. I'm pretty loaded up. This is where I started the build. Started the build in here with the center console. I took this out at an Airbnb and I cut it up and I made lift top. I moved the cup holders and I put a little step stool in the back. Then I also rewired it. So within here, I have charging ports underneath. I've got charging ports inside, and then I've got charging ports down here in the crack on the driver's side as well. In addition to the regular the stock charging port up here, and there's 2 down there. I think I have 5 total in the cabin alone. The second thing I did was install this subwoofer, and that's wired up into the base right here and into my stereo. The 2 big purchases I made were the cooler inside here and the stereo, which were both around $350. Woo, it's getting hot. Outfit change. Or is it costume change? Right. As you can see, I'm pretty loaded up because we're kind of moving right now. Everything I own is in the vehicle. I've sold, when I moved, I sold everything. I sold furniture, cars, tools. I mean, everything. Everything. So also in the cabin, I have all my plants up here. I've got some succulents I got from California and some vines that I'm growing. Okay, so behind the driver's seat, the subwoofer we installed is a Rockville, it's like a slimline under the seat type subwoofer. This includes the amp and the sub, and it's only like 2 inches thick. I think the model for this is 150 watt, maybe 300, I forget. And then more recently, we actually got stuck in Idaho because it was so cold the truck wouldn't start. So I've actually installed a 3rd battery behind the seat, and I just put it in like a tray, like a metal tray I got from Goodwill, and wired it up there. Second battery is underneath the driver floor pan, and then the first battery is in the hood up on the driver's side. As for the rest of the cabin, up top we have some cubbies where I got my hats, and then I have my one of my wardrobes and dress shirt behind the driver's seat, just hung on the hooks. Another interesting thing you'll see is above the headset, look at all the electronics. This is only about 1/3 of the electronics. This is part of the AC unit that goes into the back. Underneath the driver's seat, there is a whole crap load more of electronics. So underneath the driver's seat, in here is where we wired up so many things. Subwoofer, the diesel heater, and as you can see, there's already existing like so much wiring. I can't really get in there right now, but there's so much wiring in there. Fun fact, this car mat, I've had this car mat for almost 20 years. I got it with my old Chrysler, and it was stuck underneath several other floor mats. They didn't even know it was there. That's been in almost every single vehicle I've ever owned. Okay, here's the dash. As you can see, we have over 350K on the odometer, which is pretty crazy. I'm hoping to get this thing to 500K if I can. Stereo that I put in, this is a Bluetooth stereo, touchscreen. One of the big things I was very picky about is I wanted a good stereo. So this you can do, I needed one that had a CD player, and that was the hard part. These things aren't that expensive, but finding one with a good CD player is actually kind of hard. So this I can play all my CDs, and I can hook it up to Bluetooth, everything, which is pretty cool. I think you can even play movies on here, I'm not sure. Okay, coming around to the driver's side, we have the diesel fuel fill up here. We have the shore power, which came from the ambulance company. When they parked it in the bay, they just put this in. This is a 30 amp. I basically never use it. Moving a little bit farther back, I just installed this recently. This is the diesel heater fill-up port. And then as you can see underneath here, we got the diesel exhaust hidden underneath there. I also have underneath there a triple AC system, which is pretty interesting. That's stock from the manufacturer. So moving underneath, you can see the This is the fan system. We have 1, 2, 3 fans. This is for the AC and the heater unit in the back of the passenger compartment. This is separate but connected, I believe, to the AC up front. It's a separate system. Okay, moving on to the trunk. We have stickers for all the festivals and places. I went to a van. I put the van in a show. And then on the other side we have locations, so like cities. Crater Lake, North Cascades, Whidbey, Columbia River, Redwood, Santa Cruz. I did back into a tree finally, and I cracked one of the lenses, unfortunately. And then like 2 days later, I cracked the other one. 3 years, no dents, no damage. And then within a week, I cracked both of the lenses, which... So moving on to the trunk, we have bike storage. I do have my bike wheel stored up here. I created these removable panels to protect the window because the bed is right there, and I can actually just hang the wheel on there, which is kind of nice. And then lower in the trunk, I am pretty full because we're full of tools and stuff, but I'm able to fit my little carbon fiber bike. Oh God. So I am able to fit a bike in the back of the trunk, which is behind the cabinet faces. I left like a gap, so when I close the door, there's a gap between actual storage and like where I can put the bicycle. So this is a carbon fiber bike I bought at Goodwill in Santa Cruz for like 50 bucks. Super smoking deal. And then I have these folding pedals which I can fold, which allow me to save space when I go to close the door. And I can fit it in that little crack. So in the back we also have, I moved the second wardrobe to the back to cover up the window. And this is just hanging by hooks and magnets. So behind there we have the bed. Underneath the bed I have lots of other flat storage. And then behind the bike I have tools, materials, sewing stuff, and some other wood scraps in case I need to make a repair. Another thing I did was install these grab bars both on the left and right sides, and those match the ones that are hanging from the ceiling. This has been great. I can attach straps to it or tie things down or just hang on them. And then I also have a lot of Velcro items that are like my back roller, which are just Velcroed to like random places. Back is this fold-up step, which is kind of nice. However, early on I helped the neighbor pull out a tree stump, and I did it with a chain hooked to the corner. And unfortunately it bent the entire thing, so it's been bent ever since. Okay, now for the main event, the interior. So right off the bat, before we even go in, this is the old oxygen tank cabinet, and this cabinet runs all the way to the other side. It's like 6 feet deep. You can actually fit a human in here. So we put the snowboards and things like that. Right now it's full of tools. One thing we did when we got stuck in Idaho was I actually used the back of this cabinet, and I put the diesel heater in the back of this cabinet. So to get there, I just go through, sliced a hole in this cabinet a long time ago, and you can get at more storage and the diesel heater, which is behind this board that is also removable. Behind here we have the cooler. The drawer glides have long since died on that. This is my new desk area. This folds down and it creates a whole desk. I have a little lift up area, and I painted this like a hard enamel white. Behind here we have some of the electronics. I got all my switches and my solar. This is all wiring that had to be moved. So all this wiring back here had to be moved from its original location way down there when this was all cabinets. And we moved it up here, and we cut the switch panels and added some other things. Added the solar. I have a new calendar. And so this is my desk area. This is where I usually study and do my computer work. I do have an ottoman underneath me that's movable, so I can actually move around. So this desk area is pretty nice because I built this ottoman. First I built a bench built into the wall. Then I saw this cute idea where they had an ottoman that moved around, and I thought that's a great idea. So I took the whole thing off the wall, rebuilt it, and now you can move it around. I can work like this, face my window, face the ocean, whatever. Or if it's at night and I want to just pack everything, I can sit here and kick back. And this desk behind me actually folds down, so when I am sitting, I can have a full desk, which is really nice. I also have this window here that has a fan attached. This is one of the first things I did. And I have this little fan here, so if I'm like smoking or whatever, I can just hook that up. And I made this little cardboard cutout that makes a perfect hole for the fan, and I can blow all the smoke out, which is pretty nice. Okay, moving on to above the desk area, we have my library. I've started a postcard collection. I actually have my own postcard series that I've been doing with my travels, and I've been sending these postcards out, which is kind of cool. But behind all that, we have my library. This is mostly poetry, philosophy, and I even have some classics. Look at this, James Bond, Live and Let Die. This is from like 1957. Look how old it is. Got some journals up here, yoga books, Paulo Coelho, French books, books about trees, and then I have all my maps that I've kept over the years too. And then above I have some postcards and Polaroids. These are the vent heaters for the AC and the heater unit. I've actually cut this cabinet in half originally. I had to pull the whole thing out and then reinstall it, which was kind of a pain in the ass. Okay, moving on back a little farther, I have some kitchen items, or bathroom items. I've got some belts and hats and my toiletries with my shaver. Down here I have some contacts and like more bathroom things. Got a jewelry box with just some bits and bobs. Got my little thigh deck. And then down here we actually have a roll top cabinet, which is kind of cool. I found this at Goodwill and I installed the entire cabinet into the shelf here. This cool roll top cabinet that I got at Goodwill for like $6. And I wound up just trimming it and installing the whole thing into the wall. Because before this was actually just a flat space in the bed. The bed, I can install the bed all the way up here. But this is cool just to kind of keep things contained. I have some books in here and a candle and some other things I keep. Okay, moving on to the other side, I have the sink here. The sink I've actually had at the desk, and I took the whole thing apart and I moved it over here. It's a little bit higher now. I can wash my hair, wash my hands, and it's just a better space to cook on. I also installed this fold-up table. I can put the projector here or work on the computer, make coffee, go watch the ocean, watch the beach. That just folds down. Area is part of the shelf and meets in the middle. These both extend and meet in the middle, so this whole thing becomes a bed. I have some cabinets, little tiny cabinets I made at my buddy's wood shop. It's just kitchen items, tea, gum. Up here we have more original cabinets. I've got some cups and protein powders and some equipment up here. And then down here I've got clothes, jeans, and some more storage. And then down by the kitchen I have got other tools and kitchen equipment down here. So if you look, you'll notice that both of the cabinets are actually set on an angle. Now this cabinet's original and that was set on an angle. And I decided to keep that angle to keep all this floor space open rather than just a straight up and down. If you put your cabinet on an angle, when you go to step up to it, you can step all the way up instead of being like, oh, I have to lean over the cabinet. I've actually so much leg room in this, it's amazing. I can do yoga here. Yoga in the middle. I originally bought the van to put a motorcycle in, so keeping the entire center open was pretty important to me. The original gurney catch. There's little knobs that screw into here that hold the gurney in. It's all empty, but I'm full of tools, clothes, sewing machine, vacuum, and mechanic stuff. But you can see I built all this, and I built all these cabinets and it was a pain in the ass, don't get me wrong, but I installed these push buttons, which is kind of cool. So I've got some tools and screws and hardware. I got like leather jackets and outdoor clothes, and then I have backup dress clothes in this one. And then down here, I think this is empty. It's got like a charger in it or something. Cabinet and below the bed, we have all this storage that I built, and I just installed push buttons, which harder than it looks, especially on an angle. These are much better for drawers. Getting them to connect. See, this is on a curve. It's not straight back and forth, but this is a square. So getting that to line up was extremely difficult. But I was adamant on keeping the angle of the cabinets. This is original paint that I had paint matched. Some of these panels are existing. I reused as much as I possibly could. Everything else, all the hardwood, the bamboo, these rounded pieces are stair nose or stair edge, which are super cheap and I got from the resale shop. And then I just bought tons and tons of piano hinges. Whenever I would see piano hinges, I'd just buy them. I had a stockpile. Now you'll notice in the ceiling, the original panel has been sliced into pieces, and I put these bamboo strips in here. I did that because I had to take the entire ceiling out in one piece to actually get it out. And I did that to cut the hole in the window for the roof hatch, and also to make it easier so I can access things. I can work on this light without having to take the whole thing out. So I had to move a bunch of the lights. I also have like surgery lights in here, so these are extremely fucking bright. And there's a high and a low switch, so like so bright, like operating room bright, which is crazy. This hanger bar here was original, and I thought what a great idea, so I added another one, and that's just to help me get out of the roof hatch. And you know, you can exercise with these. I do a lot of pull-ups. Sometimes I hang upside down and do like crunches, which is kind of wild. Moving on to the bed area, I'll be honest with you, it's a little short for me. I really want to install the punch outs. I haven't been able to yet. I am over 6 foot tall though, so I'm kind of pushing it. I maxed it out as much as possible, so I can still chill here, but it's basically maxed out. I've had the bed like 3 or 4 different setups. I've had it the entire bed. I've had it along the wall here and keep this open. Yeah, we've had it a bunch of different ways for like festival or for camping. This is how I have it set up for just one person. Just lots of blankets, and then I have storage underneath. Everything has been maximized. Everything has been pushed as far out as possible to just allow as much room as I can do in here, which is what's important to me. Now, to fit the bed in here, I did have to take apart my wardrobe. As you can see, I have there's a double hanger here for his and hers equipment. So I had like wetsuits and different things. And this used to be a cabinet, so I had cabinet faces that opened up. But I eventually tore everything out to make room for the bed. And then I bumped out the panels a little bit as much as I could. I used original hard shell, like 1/4 inch for this. And then I have bamboo for everything else. So one thing I did eventually was I got that roof out and I cut a hole in the roof and I put a hatch in. This is a boat hatch. It was kind of expensive. It's all billet aluminum, aluminum bezel with poly glass and little handles. It was used and it was still expensive. And this is one of the best things I can recommend. Absolutely total game changer. The amount of light this window brings in is insane. So much light, I want to put another one in. If I were to block this off, like, it gets so much darker in here. With this window, it's like, oh my God, total game changer. And also, when you're at the beach or poking around, you can just stick your head out, check things out, take some photos of the sunset, and I hang out up here all the time. Easy as that. I do yoga up here. It's great. All right. Looks like I'm running out of storage, so I'm gonna wrap this video up. But here's the roof. I kept it flat and bare because I wanted it as low and flat as possible. I didn't really want a roof rack like catching on trees and whatever. I do have solar panels installed directly onto the roof, which some people would say is not great, but I like how flat it is. Yeah, and this is my roof. I really want to do more up here, but it hasn't really been a priority. So the roof hatch was the big one, and this thing has been an absolute lifesaver. Okay, that's it for this video. If you want to see more adventures, like and subscribe, follow along. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Woo! Bye!